Yo, and welcome back to Military Bread. And today we're talking about a topic that honestly sparks a lot of debate. Do civilians feel like military folk are just too privileged? And we're going to unpack the reason behind this feeling, break down some of the misconceptions, and get into why this topic honestly hits so close to home for both sides. And whether you served in the military or not, this is a conversation we need to have. But let's get into it. So let's start where civilians honestly may see all this stuff to be unfair. Military personnel gets a lot of different perks, and let's think about it. We get 10 to 20% off at retail stores. We get exclusive base housing benefits. We get top tier healthcare without premiums. And the retirement pension, if we stay long enough, is quite well. But for a civilian who might be juggling high healthcare premiums, rent, student loans, not getting the discounts they feel like they deserve, it can seem a bit unfair. And it's understandable, and especially coming from a civilian point of view, because they might wonder, why are they getting these breaks and we're out here grinding? And that's a valid feeling simply because civilians face their own challenges on an everyday basis and without some of the same safety nets that us military people have. But is it as really black and white as it may seem? And it's important to ask, what are military members sacrificing to earn these benefits? And here's where things get a little more honestly complex in my eyes. Let's not forget what military members sign up for. Whether it's deployments to combat zones, leaving their loved ones behind, or honestly just being called upon at any given time, the military life isn't easy. It's not easy at all. And those perks are a result of the enormous personal and physical sacrifice that we make by signing our life up. I mean, take healthcare for instance. For sure, it's provided by the government. But a lot of veterans need healthcare simply because the injuries we sustain in combat or the wear and tear over the years of service, PTSD, physical injuries, emotional scars, all are a part of the package that comes with serving. But a lot of people are not paying attention to it. What are those free pensions? They're earned through decades of service, and some never even live to see this retirement. And for those who do, it's often a hard fight. Honestly, it's an uphill battle to even get what rightfully belongs to us. I mean, we have to work in a dangerous work environment. We got to work long hours, and it's a bunch of uncertainty that you have to deal with being in the military. And it's easy to see those benefits from the outside looking in and thinking like, hey, they got it made. But behind each of those benefits, there's a huge sacrifice. And it's often unseen. A lot of people feel like, oh, we're just privileged. But honestly, matter of fact, let's talk about it. Let's talk about this military privilege that I keep hearing about. Does it really exist? Yes, there are advantages or whatever that we get from being in the military, but it's not about giving us special treatment. It's about balancing the scales. VA healthcare, for example, is there to treat unique health challenges faced by us veterans. There is no walk-in, honestly, there ain't no walk in the park for the VA. Anyone who had to deal with the VA or whatever, they will let you know it's frustrating, it's bureaucratic, man, it's a long ass process. And a lot of people don't pay attention to it. And for sure, military retirement comes after 20 years, but here's the stat, not everyone knows. Only about 17% of service members stay long enough to honestly collect this pension. And majority leave without honestly having the financial safety net that a lot of people think that we get. While it may seem like everyone in the military is walking away with a lifelong rap sheet of benefits, it's actually a much smaller group. And plus, with many of those privileges, honestly, comes with strings attached. Discounts are nice, but those don't cover, honestly, long-term mental, physical, emotional costs that you may deal with being in the service. For many veterans, the real fight, honestly, starts when they come home. But I'm sitting here trying to figure out, where does the divide comes from? A lot of it stems, honestly, from the lack of understanding because civilians don't see the realities of military life. Things like deployments, the danger, the strain on families. And on the flip side, the military members might not fully grasp the pressure that civilians are dealing with, like job security, healthcare costs, work-life balance. I feel like the media plays a big role with everything that's going on right now. And I mean, everybody's entitled to an opinion, but I feel like media often highlights the perks of the military life, showing soldiers getting discounts, using government resources, and it doesn't always show the behind the scenes sacrifices. But that's where the disconnect happens. If people only see the side of the story, of course, they're going to feel like things are out of balance. Here's the thing. We don't have to stay divided. It starts with a conversation like this, where we break down those walls and recognize both sides, civilians and military members. Because we all have valid experiences and challenges, and understanding each other's perspective, we can lead to empathy instead of resentment. At the end of the day, it's not all about who has more or less. It's about understanding. Military benefits aren't about privilege. They're about compensation for the risk and sacrifices that us service members make on an everyday basis. And civilians, they're dealing with their own set of challenges which deserve just as much recognition. But let's stop this us versus them mentality. We're all in this together, and whether you served or not, I feel like you're entitled to what you're entitled to. But let's not start this conversation. Let me know what you guys think. Do you feel like military members are getting way too many perks? Or do you feel like they deserve what they've earned? But drop down in the comments. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say about this. And let's continue to keep this going. But as always, don't forget to like and subscribe. Click the share button or whatever so other people get to see more content like this. Hey, but until next time on Military Bread, y'all, let's eat.